Hey guys, John here. In this video, I'm going to talk about my favorite feature of the Neural DSP Quad Cortex. And I think that this feature sets the Quad Cortex apart from most, if not all, the other major platforms out there. And in order to demonstrate what I'm talking about, I'm going to need to create a preset from scratch on my Quad Cortex, which I have over here. And for the amplifier tones in this preset, I'm going to use captures that I made of my Lichtlaerm Audio Prometheus, which you can get in the description below in my web store. Check it out if you're interested. And yeah, these came out really well. Here's like a quick example of a tone. So it sounds modern, textured, very full and rich. And of course, this LTD RZK-III is very tight and focused sounding as well, with a lot of output. I love this guitar a lot, so this is what I'm going to use for this video. Of course, it's loaded up with the Fishman RZK pickups. I'm on the bridge pickup with the active voicing. Anyway, so that's a very quick preview of some of the tones that you can get in my Quad Cortex capture pack. Now, let's go to a new preset. And what we're going to do for starters is create a dual chain over here in series. So I'm going to send the signal from the first row to row 3, and then we're going to put the output over here. So this is going to be our one big signal chain. Now for the amp tones, I'm going to load up multiple captures. Now let's start out with a nice clean capture of this amplifier. And I'm going to use captures this time around that have a cabinet baked in. But of course, I've also made DI captures so that you can load either one of the stock cabinets or one of your own IRs. So for the clean tone, I'm going to use this capture over here, the CL1 Bright. So that's kind of the brilliant channel. Sounds nice and full. Let's see how that sounds. So that's going to be our basic clean channel, right? Now, when we click on that capture block, what I'm going to do is assign it to the scenes. First, I'm going to turn it off, and then I'm going to hold this button over here so that it is assigned to the scenes as it is right now. And let's also switch over to the scene mode. All right, so we have our clean channel loaded up right now. However, for my clean tone, what I want to do is add a little bit of reverb. So we're going to go to the reverb block over here. And then let's make this a very nice and ambient clean tone. So let's go for the Mind Hall. Let's see how that sounds on the default settings. That sounds really beautiful, actually. I do think that we need to make this block a little bit more quiet because I want the drive blocks to be a little bit more hot than the clean channel. All right, that will do for now. Let's also go to this block, turn it off, hold this in order to add this to the scene. So what will happen is if we go to different scenes, you can turn the blocks on and off, right? So for this first scene, this is going to be our clean scene. I'm going to turn it off. And then when we go to scene 2, both blocks will be disabled, right? So for now, this is going to be our clean tone. Again, very ambient and very high headroom clean. Yeah, I really like that reverb with this clean channel. Quite beautiful. Yes, yes. Okay, let's go to scene B. And for this scene, I want a crunchy tone. So we're going to add another capture block from that same amplifier. That same pack, and I want to use the vintage channel. Let's go to the vintage 3 with the bright switch to the top. So that's the BT. And again, we're going to go to this block, turn it off, then add it to the scenes. And then for scene B, we're going to turn it on. Now, if we switch between A and B, you can already see that for A, it has the clean amplifier turned on, and for B, the crunchy channel. Let's try that real quick. Perhaps for this tone, I would rather use the passive voicing on the Fishman, which would sound something like this. It's a little bit more dynamic sounding, right? And sounds more like a passive pickup. Now I am noticing a little bit of hissy noise. So I'm going to press and hold the input block and then turn on the noise gate. So that is on now. That is perfect. Just to get rid of some of that noise, right? Right, for the crunchy tone, I want some reverb as well, but a different type of reverb, a bit more of a subtle reverb. Let's say a room. I'm going to tweak that, but first, again, turn it off, press and hold the on and off switch. And then for this scene, we're going to turn it on. And then what I'm going to do in terms of the controls, I'm going to turn the mix down to around 18% or so. I'm also going to lower the decay and turn the mix down even lower. Now, something else that we can do, which I am going to do, is assign some of these parameters, okay, also to the scenes. So for the mix, I want to be able to control the mix across the scenes as well as the decay. All right, that's fine. So this is going to be our more subtle room reverb for the crunch tone. So going back to, you know, the first scene, we have that beautiful clean tone. And then as we go to B, we're going to get that crunchy tone. And all of these tones are created from the same amplifier. So it's kind of like switching between channels on my real Prometheus. But we can do even more than that in the Quad Cortex, as we can, you know, have captures with certain switches and certain switches on and off and certain settings and just go between them all. So it's a quite powerful method, this. Okay, for the next scene, which is going to be scene 3, we're going to do a heavy rhythm tone. And let's load up a new capture over here, again from the same amplifier, of course. I think I'm going to go with the lead 6 with the bright switch to the top position. Again, we're going to go to the block, turn it off, and then turn the scene mode on, scene bypass, and here we go. So for this scene right here, we have a nice and modern rhythm tone. That sounds really killer already. It's kind of like instant gratification, if you know what I mean. What I am going to do just for the purpose of this video is I'm going to add some EQ, because some of you might want to do that, you know, to get a bit more of a clean tone, especially if you're playing live. We're going to apply a high and low cut. And let's put the high pass frequency at, let's say, 74 Hertz. And then the low pass frequency at, you know, 9,000 Hertz or something. Love that, love that. Now, for this sound, I want to use the room reverb once again, but I want to tweak the settings a little bit to make it even more subtle. So I'm going to turn the mix down a little bit and the decay as well. So let's say something like this. It's super subtle, but it just gives you the idea that this amp is mic'd in a room, you know. So we have the clean tone. Let's switch back to the neck pickup. There we go, very nice. Then we have the crunchy tone. And then we have the heavy rhythm, the more metal rhythm. And you know what? I want to stick with the passive voicing on these pickups because it sounds a bit more dynamic. However, the low end is a little bit more fat on this mode. So what I want to do is I'm going to add a boost pedal or an overdrive pedal to tighten up the low end. And I'm going to use a tube screamer, of course, you know, because that always works for this purpose. Let's lower the overdrive all the way. This should be fine. Let's again do the bypass thing and then turn it on for this scene. Let's see how that sounds. Really cool. So for the rhythm tone, the boost is going to be turned on, right? Really nice. So that's a really tight and modern metal tone right there. Now, I'm not really a lead player, but for the purpose of this video, I want to add a lead tone as well. And I'm going to make it a very thick lead tone. So let's go to scene D, then add one more capture. And let's say that we want to use the lead channel, of course, once again. But this time I want to use a very fat capture, which is with the bright switch to the middle position. So this one over here, lead 4, should do really well. Again, let's do the bypass thing and the assign to scenes thing. Here we go. And before we check out how that sounds, let's also add a delay. A digital stereo delay, because that's going to add some nice ambience, of course. And then we're also going to turn on that subtle room reverb. And let's see how that sounds. Let's go to the neck pickup. All right, so that's a really nice and warm and thick lead tone. Let's add a bit more gain, you know, for more sustain and more saturation. All right, really nice. So that is our lead tone right there. So right now we have a clean tone with some nice reverb, a crunch tone. Oh, we have to do the, of course, for the delay, I should not forget to do the scenes bypass thing. Of course, for the lead tone, it's on, and then for the others, it's off. So we have that clean tone, the crunch tone, the heavy rhythm tone with the boost, and then the lead tone. So the very thick lead tone with the delay, right? Now, say we want to add some more effects. Then what we could do is, for example, make an alternative clean tone right here with the clean amp. And then let's add some sort of modulation effect, like a phaser, because I like phaser effects. Let's go for the phaser right here. Again, do the bypass thing. And let's turn it on. And let's turn it on for this scene. All right, that's cool. Let's also turn on that beautiful reverb once again. Very cool. So that's our alternative clean tone. All right. Then let's do a rhythm tone, but this time without the boost. So we're going to turn on this lead channel, this rhythm channel over here, but without the boost for a bit more of a thick rhythm tone. It's going to work well for big chorus chords and stuff like that, right? Now for the final scene that I'm going to do for this video, scene G, is I'm going to do a lead tone, but we're going to do a pitch shift effect up front with the wham effect. And I'm going to set mix to 50%. And then put the pitch to an octave up. That's a cool effect right there that we're going to have turned on, along with the delay and the room reverb as well. So this is going to be our special effects lead for some special bits. I love that octave effect, like a whammy pedal, all right? So let's do a quick run through of all the tones. So we have a simple, beautiful ambient clean tone, right? Beautiful, beautiful. Then we have a sort of dad rock rhythm crunch. Then we have a heavy rhythm. A nice and heavy metal rhythm. Then a simple lead tone. With some nice delay. Then our alternative clean with the modulation. Very nice. Then the rhythm tone without the boost for more of a thick tone. Beautiful, beautiful. And then finally the lead with the pitch shifter on. And that is it. And of course you can go crazy with this. I mean, you could capture a boost pedal, so your own boost or overdrive pedal, for example, add that as a capture block as well. Instead of using the stock overdrive model, you know, for the boost, you can add a bunch more captures, as many as you want, as long as the CPU permits. You can do parallel chains, of course, and stuff like that. So the possibilities are basically endless, right? The Kemper doesn't allow you to do that. With the Helix, you can't yet add captures, the fractal stuff neither. So this is one of the reasons why I like the Quad Cortex so much. It's just such a powerful feature and a way to really get the most out of the captures and to create your own live rig inside of one single preset. So the switching will all be gapless too. So that is really awesome. Again, if you want to try this capture pack, check out the link to my web store in the comments down below. You can get that there for a nice price. And let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on this feature. I'd love to know. I think it's wonderful, so I'd love to know your thoughts. Also, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, as that really helps the channel out. I'd really appreciate it. You can also follow Sonic Drive Studio, Facebook, and Instagram. And if you want to support this channel, you can also get something at my affiliate links, like a Quad Cortex for Thomann and Sweetwater. That really helps out the channel. I'd really appreciate that. Or get something else at my web store, like an IR pack or another capture pack. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hope to see you soon. Cheers.